Hey everyone, it's your girl Alicia. If you're new to my guide, please subscribe. If you already have, thank you for tuning in again. I wanted to talk to you today about my experiences with eSight Eyewear. I figured this would be the perfect time to do a story time on this because it's been a couple of years, the feelings and emotions have simmered down, and this is actually a two-part story time. The first part is me talking about my experiences with the Eyewear device on its own in case you guys are interested on how it works and how I liked it. And then the second half is my experiences trying to get a job at their Toronto offices. So let's start with my experiences first. One of the 10 people in Toronto who was given the lucky opportunity to try out this revolutionary device. My doctor at the time was like, this might be a good thing for you to try out at home, take to work, especially since you work at a restaurant, take around with you, try playing your flute with. We really want to see how this can be a dynamic part of a person's everyday life. I took it, I think, for a week, and this is before it was ever on any television show or anyone did a YouTube video on it. This is like beta stages. Back then I had really good vision. I mean, good compared to now, but not 2020, like 2016. I tried it out and I hated it. Very resistant to my disease. I didn't think I needed that device, and it's a very bulky, attention grabbing device. It looks like a black cyclops, first of all. It's got a long black wire that connects to a big black box, and back then when you would press the buttons, you could actually hear it zooming in and out in your ears. So it was like, and it was very jittery. Like, think of the camera phones back in like 2010, 2011. That's about the camera quality that was in this really expensive device. It was very annoying because I could see with my eyes. And yes, this did help, but I felt like it was too much. I still have to give this device some credit because it did change part of my life. My family never really took in that I had Stargardt's disease, probably because I wasn't an out. It wasn't until I started wearing it around the house that my mom started freaking out and taking my vision loss seriously. So that's one thing that I can say that came from that experience. Fast forward to, I want to say it's 2 years ago now. Like, I can't believe it. Time flies. I was very frustrated with my job. I wanted to do something new. I wanted a challenge. I wanted a place where I could grow and develop and also help people like myself. Jay's like, why don't you just Google jobs for the legally blind? Babe, I've done that before. You don't think that's something I did? The first thing that popped up was the eSight Eyewear, and I was shocked because every other time that I've ever Googled anything like a job bank for the legally blind, the partially sighted, the low vision, nothing comes up. It was for a customer service representative position. I thought it was very interesting because it wasn't described as your usual sales position. They wanted you to engage with clients to make sure that they understood exactly how the eSight Eyewear works. So it was basically like the opportunity for people all around the world to be able to do what I did years ago, test out the product for a couple days, then work out a way to pay for it because it's hella expensive. I thought this would be good. This is empowering. It's helping other people. It's something that I already know about because I tried in the past. I've done sales before, but I'm not really in love with it, but it's something that I can do really well. You know those things. I applied and it was a lot of back and forth. Like, I remember it was so weird because I handed in the resume, didn't hear back. Let me just check in. So I called the offices and they're like, we didn't receive any email. An hour or two later, they're like, oh, we saw it in this inbox, but we're changing our website, so it didn't go through. So good thing you called. We'll be in touch with you. Okay, now I understand the importance of checking back when you hand in resumes. In a week or two, I had an interview, and the guy, he was so sweet. He liked me instantly. He's like, I love the fact that you have Stargardt's disease because I can actually lend to you selling our product. I also love that you've tried the product. You speak very well. You have a lot of customer related experience. I also discussed with him that I wanted to take on even more tasks because I'm all about creativity. He also allowed me to try out the eSight Eyewear again, which I did. And this time it was much better. He said the change in the last 4 or 5 years was that they use a Sony camera instead of whatever they were using before. It was so much clearer. It was much less jittery. And because my vision is much worse, I could see the difference. Literally. Okay, this device is much better. Still not something I would use in everyday life because it's still bulky with a string and a big black box. But I'm like, if I was super elderly and I was home all day, if I had zero, then I would probably wear this out anyway because it does help you see far away, although it does tap out at a certain distance. All these like little things that if you can see, you never realize that someone with Stargardt's may have trouble with. So I was like, this is awesome. Like, I feel like this is a fresh start. Everyone that I met in the office that day was super sweet, young, laid back. It was open concept. I was like, oh my gosh, this reminds me of the Google Hat office without the free food. At the end of the interview, he said these specific words. I'm ready to hire you. I just need to speak to my other manager. We need to get some forms through and I'll be in touch with you. Hold on to that. We're going to use it later in this story time. So fast forward, a week passes by. I don't hear from him. Another week passes by and then I message him. He's like, I'm really concerned that you're confused because I never offered you the job. Remember those words I told you to hold on to, guys? Because I'm in a position of a potential employee to employer, I can't be like, but wait. I'm so sorry. I was probably so enthusiastic about the job that I might have misheard you. He's like, no, you have to come in for a second interview. Like, I really like you. I want you on the job, but we need to get you the device first because you'll need it to do the job. In my head, I'm like, I always zoom into computers, so I don't need to buy this device in order to zoom into computers if I can already do that with a computer. Waited another week. We went in for a second interview. This guy was like not as warm or welcoming at all. And at the very end of the interview, which I thought went well, he's like, so my colleague told me that you thought that you got the job. My mind exploded. I can't believe I had to wait a month between the first and second interview to have it go well and then have this dude ruin it by asking me at the end some backwards ass question. Yes, I was like super enthusiastic, and because he said these words and I repeated them, he's like, he said these exact words. Yes. He's like, I'll have to check back with him. In the meantime, I'll give you these forms so that you can try to get funding from the government so that you can buy the eSight eyewear before you get the job. But the deadline for it is like April or something. The device is 20,000 Canadian dollars, by the way. So your girl is not taking out $20,000 from her bank to pay for no device to work no job, which, by the way, during that second interview, he flipped the scripts. It wasn't at all what was on the original job detail. They've condensed it with another position. So I'd be doing two people's roles and I wouldn't have any time to do the creative stuff that I was discussing with the first person who interviewed me. I feel like this guy is trying to sell me out of the job, but I'm very sometimes to no ends persistent. So I'm like, you know what? I'll look for the good in it. At the very end, after all that awkwardness, he said, I'll call you tomorrow night to see if you still want the job offer and we'll go through with the paperwork. In my head, I'm like, it's a Friday, but I'm not questioning this man with nothing. So a day passes. I doubt he's going to call. Maybe he forgot that it was a weekend. And he actually called Saturday night. Or actually, was it Sunday? It was one of the two. It was just weird. Whatever it was weird. Looking after a day and how it felt and the fact that I didn't really want to do that type of work anyway. Just the whole scenario was sketchy AF. I'm like, you know what? Thank you for the opportunity, but I'm going to decline. I was shocked again when this man asked why. Why are you going to ask me why? You changed the job role. I just said, because when I was originally interviewed, the job was listed as different. Even online, it has a different job description than what was discussed in the second interview. I don't think it was very professional for you to question me as far as what your colleague said to me, because that's what he did say, and it put me in a position where I couldn't really speak out for myself out of respect for both him and you and your company. He's like, I'm really sorry you felt that way. I just didn't understand how you had been offered the job when you have to go through me. And I couldn't believe that he said that. Whatever. So I declined that. And I'm just like, ugh. I've had a couple people in the last couple months ask me about the eSight eyewear. And it's just something that makes me chuckle. The whole situation's messed up. I really hope that their device gets better and smaller so that more and more people can use it. No shade. I'm just letting you know what's up with them because I don't think the way they conduct themselves is appropriate. I'm kind of grateful because I might be in a job that I didn't like, propelled by the idea of helping people out there. That's the end of this story. I hope that you guys enjoyed the story time. If you got any questions or comments, you know where to leave them. Thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoyed this one. And until next time, love and later. Or if I could just wear glasses, don't you think your girl would? I hate when people say just because it's like, duh. Read newspapers.